BIONIC Woodsman here. Good Saturday morning, everybody. Sitting down here at the proud home of Lafayette Lawn Rifles. I'm standing underneath the firing line. Now, this is an 18th century American living history group that does encampments, that live, for a weekend or sometimes upwards of 5 days if they're out here for it. They live in the woods, which are over that way behind me, in tents, and they camp on open fires. They dress appropriate to the 18th century. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's like an adult-sized Boy Scout camp, if you will. But this happens to be a work day. So we had one last week. Got a whole bunch of work done down here because, obviously with the COVID-19, everything was shut down for a long time. And this range did not have much attention at all, aside from the couple of things I was able to do here and there. So last weekend we got a whole bunch done. And this weekend, more folks are back out doing more details. So I'm going to turn this around so you can see Mr. John out there in the berm, dressing that up a hair bit. Okay, and in the back behind him, on the back side I should say, is Mr. Gary with a hedge trimmer taking down the tall weeds. Over that way we have a place called Peg Leg Pub. I'll tell you that story later on in a whole nother snippet. Yeah, that was a funny story. But anywho, and over here we have a bunch of gentlemen cleaning what's called the annex next to the target shed. Just trying to get it all cleaned up for the season, organized and what have you. And of course the supervisor is never far from me whatsoever. So anyway, that's the whole firing line that way. All right, about, I think it's 160 feet or so. I've never measured it myself, so I don't know off the top of my head. But this red line, it's obviously your firing line. It's where you stand when you're shooting from the benches. You load on the bench, you come out to the firing line, and you shoot towards a target, whether it's mounted at the 25-yard or the 50-yard. There's a little hump down there. You can sort of see it. That's 75 yards. And then the brackets all the way to the back are for 100 yards. So we shoot predominantly black powder when we have a monthly shoot. But sometimes there are modern weapons as well, just for practice, for everybody's safety and all that. But yeah, I'm just sitting here watching the guys and they don't even know they're on TV per se. Snippet 4 of BIONIC Woodsman. Anyway, let's take a little wander this way. So I bought this property back in 16. Okay, and this building here was previously named Bailey's Tavern after the prior owner. Okay, and I started kicking around some ideas and names. Right, there's the posts where the sign would hang, and there's the lunch belt, the very tippity top, which you might have seen in a picture a couple of weeks back, or last week actually, excuse me, where a gentleman was up in the bucket of a Kubota oiling that up so it would ring better. So up there we do hang the sign for the name of the establishment. But the name came about, obviously, as I am the BIONIC Woodsman, being an amputee. I was kicking around a bunch of names back in 16. Watch out, Ellie. And it was March of 2016. Let me turn this around. It was March of 2016 when the club was down here for a monthly shoot. So I'm just looking for spiders and stuff, putting my arm up on the rafter here. But we're kicking around the idea of renaming the place from Bailey's Tavern to something else. Yeah, Hunter's on the roof sweeping, cleaning off. So I'm going to have a lot of noise behind me here on the ladder. But kicking around a bunch of names, and we had a big meeting after lunch one day, and I had 3 names that I really wanted. But for some reason, as we were all congregated inside of the building here, formerly known Bailey's Tavern, well, sitting around here and had a meeting about it, and I was, basically offered out the idea that I had 3 names and I'd like to vote on them. And I ended up just throwing out the best one, Peg Leg Pub, and the whole room was quiet at that point. If you don't want to be on video, don't come this way for a minute.
Alrighty.
So the room went silent, and so I had the question, did I say something wrong or what have you? And wearing long pants, a lot of people just didn't know that I was an amputee. So I asked the president at the time, Phil, I said, did I say something wrong? And he says, no. And he just started laughing. And then everybody laughed, and hands went up, and everybody approved. And then Mr. Alphen was kind enough to actually still have the same paint that he originally painted that sign with. So he took the sign and repainted it. And it has lovingly been known as Peg Leg Pub since. So that's the history behind that one. Of course, being physically handicapped, missing half a leg, half of my ability to get through this has been my humor. And yes, I've made jokes about my situation since I was in the hospital. And I still do, almost 11 years later. But obviously, as I refer to myself as the Bionic Woodsman now. Anyway, I'm going to stop boring y'all. This is a longer snippet than I expected. It's 7 minutes and change now, but yeah, I'll show you more of this area in due time. All right, you guys be good. Have a great day. Take care.